Tangled, Disney's computer-animated take on the fairy tale of Rapunzel. The outline of the story is well known: a beautiful princess held in a tower, long hair with magical properties, evil hag that pretends to be her loving mother, all the rest of the circus. The key difference between this version and most of the other retellings is the prince, who in Tangled is not actually a prince at all. That role is filled by Flynn Rider, a handsome thief with a heart of gold. Think of Han Solo pretty much. And his role is much expanded in the story. Instead of just coming in and falling in love with Rapunzel, they meet accidentally when Flynn is on the run with a stolen crown. Rapunzel overpowers him and agrees to give back his loot, only if Flynn agrees to be her guide on a forbidden trip outside of the tower. And I think this character change was the best possible decision that the filmmakers could have made. Flynn is an extremely charismatic person. He has genuinely excellent chemistry with Rapunzel, and because he has more agency as a person, the dynamic between the two is far more interesting. He's also the source of a lot of the film's humor. I absolutely loved the fact that for a lot of the story he is an almost perfect audience insert for adults. He's completely exasperated at other characters bursting into songs at random moments. He doesn't buy into Rapunzel's naivete, and he manages to be this voice of reason, this straight man, despite the fact that his antics, his own antics, are often getting both protagonists into trouble, and he has this ongoing feud with a horse named Maximus. I think Rapunzel herself is also done really well, has that mix of confidence and innocence. The changes she goes through over the course of the film are believable and well done, and she looks great, especially her hair and the way they're animated. And speaking of animation, an effort was made in the movie's production to differentiate the film from other computer-generated animations by having it look more like a mix of 2D hand-drawn film and classic paintings, and I think that goal was achieved for the most part. Tangled especially has that warm, vibrant, colorful look to it, which genuinely did make me think of some of the older hand-drawn movies. I also liked most of the songs, particularly the one sung in the tavern with all the bandits. My problem with it is the pacing and the fact that the movie puts its own bar pretty high up and in the end doesn't quite manage to reach it. What I mean is this. In the first and second act, the film rests solely on the shoulders of its characters. It doesn't chase after its plot. It's free from having to do any specific thing, so instead we get a lot of charming and cute character moments. And that's funny and delightful. But then, towards the end of the second act, and in the entire Act 3, you can see that the filmmakers suddenly had to go, okay, this was fun, but we need to actually move forward with the plot and finish it somehow. And I really couldn't help but feel that it's like the air went out of the balloon. Suddenly we are tied up in these predictable plot points and have to check them one by one by one. And compared to what we saw before, it just doesn't have that same power. Weirdly enough, the plot-driven part of the film is not as engaging and interesting as the character parts. I hate to say it, but towards the end it really becomes a bit dull and boring, abandoning the freshness and flair it used to have and reverting back into just an ordinary fairy tale. Which is a damn shame because in my eyes it brings Tangled as a whole from being an amazing film down to being just decent.